Tears threatened to spill. I don't even know what to say. You don't need to say anything, he replied softly. Just know. Some acts echo through time. Some people never forget. A silence fell between them. Not awkward, not forced, just heavy with truth. Then he added, almost as an afterthought. And tonight, that echo brought me back. To you, to him, to the one person who never let me give up. Maya's mind raced. Questions collided. Who else knew about this? Why the cars? How did he find her? But one thought rose above the rest. Her son was alive. Because she once cared. Her knees went weak, but she stood tall. You really saved him, she whispered. He smiled, a hint of pride in his eyes. No, you saved him. I just made sure he stayed safe this time. Maya blinked, overwhelmed. It was almost too much to comprehend. Her small act of kindness had returned tenfold. This time, wrapped in cars, midnight urgency, and people she didn't even understand. But she felt it deep down. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a story that had started long ago, before either of them knew what it would become. The CEO motioned toward the elevator. Come, there's more you need to see. The whole story, every part of it. Maya nodded, clutching her son's photo from the nurse's clipboard. She didn't know what awaited her, but for the first time in years, she felt ready. The elevator doors slid open, and Maya stepped out into a bright, private lounge. Her son was safe for the moment, but her heart raced like it was running a marathon. The CEO led her toward a sleek glass wall overlooking the city. Lights twinkled like stars trapped in concrete. She tried to focus on the view, but her attention kept snapping back to him. This man who had once been a boy she fed at night, now standing before her like a living paradox. You saved me when no one else did, he said quietly. And tonight, you saved him, Liam. You kept hope alive, just like you did for me. Maya's throat tightened. I don't know what to say. I never thought anything I did mattered that much. He shook his head. It mattered. It always did. And now you're here, finally seeing it for yourself. She felt a lump form in her chest. The words, the presence, the night. It all collided into a single, raw moment of awe and disbelief. Then he stepped closer. You want to know why I came tonight? Why I drove across the city? Why the cars? Why the hospital team? Maya nodded, barely able to speak. Because, he said slowly, eyes locked on hers, I owe you a truth, and it's time you heard it. Her breath hitched. Tell me. He took a deep breath. 2 years ago, when I was just scraping by, living hand to mouth, you showed up every night. You didn't just feed me, you fed my brother, my hope, my courage. You taught me that even when the world is cold, someone can care. And that lesson, that single act of kindness, made me who I am today. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I didn't even realize... He held up a hand, stopping her gently. You don't have to. You couldn't have known. But now you see the circle. The reason I was able to be here tonight. The reason your son is alive. It's because of you. Her hands trembled. She had spent nights terrified of losing Liam. Nights wondering if she had enough. If she could survive this motherhood thing alone. And here was the proof. Hope. Wrapped in a man who once needed her as much as her son did now. Then he paused, letting the weight of his words settle in. You never recognized me that night, and that's okay. You couldn't have. But I remembered, and I never forgot. Maya blinked through tears. The boy. You're the boy from the neighborhood? He smiled, faint but proud. The same. Just grown up. Just able to repay a debt I couldn't even put into words until now. For a long moment, they just stood there. 2 lives intertwined across years of struggle, kindness, and survival. Outside, the city hummed in neon silence. Inside, the weight of the past finally began to shift. You came back for more than just my son, Maya whispered. I I think I understand now. He nodded. And the rest of the story. You'll see. You'll understand everything soon enough. The CEO leaned back slightly, his gaze fixed somewhere between the city lights and the memory of nights long gone. 2 years ago, he began, voice low, steady, almost reverent. I was just another kid in that neighborhood, scraping by, barely making it through each day. My brother and I went to bed hungry more times than I can count. Maya's eyes widened. She remembered a skinny boy from a few blocks over, polite, always smiling, even when the world didn't give him reason to. You came every night, he continued. Food in your hands, kindness in your eyes. You never asked for anything, never judged, just showed up. Leftovers, scraps, whatever you had you shared, and not just with me. You fed my little brother too. You kept us alive in ways I couldn't even name back then. Maya's chest tightened. I didn't know, she whispered. I never realized it mattered. It did. Every bit, he said, every meal, every smile. Every time you said, it's okay, we'll get through this. You didn't know it, but you gave me hope. And hope, Maya, hope can change everything. She felt a lump in her throat, her hands clenching. That night, the night you helped Liam, I was finally able to repay it. The cars, the team, the hospital, everything was possible because of you. Because you showed me what it meant to care, to act, to survive with dignity. Maya's tears threatened to spill. All this, because of me? She asked, incredulous. Yes, he said, voice breaking just slightly. You saved me once. I never forgot. And now I could save your son. She took a shaky breath, looking down at Liam's photo still clutched in her hands. I can't believe this, she whispered. I was just trying to feed a hungry kid, not knowing it would mean anything to anyone. He smiled faintly, almost gently. And yet, it did. You've always mattered. You've always had power to change lives, even when you didn't know it, even when you didn't see it. Maya's mind raced, trying to process decades of fear, gratitude, and disbelief in one overwhelming rush. The thing is, he added, voice softening, almost as if sharing a secret. I've carried that memory every single day. Every business deal, every challenge, every time I made a decision that could affect lives, I remembered you. You taught me to act with heart, to care when no one else would. Maya blinked through tears. I never thought a small thing could grow into this, she whispered, gesturing to the hospital, the night, her son's safe form. He nodded. It's bigger than you think, and tonight I'm here to honor that, to make sure what you gave me, what you gave countless others, keeps living. A long silence fell between them. The city hummed far below, indifferent and infinite. But in that quiet room, filled with glass and light and memory, Maya finally understood. Her small act of kindness had created ripples that had reached across years, across struggles, across a city, and now it had brought life back to her son. For the first time that night, she allowed herself to fully believe that everything would be okay. Maya sank into the chair by the glass wall, still gripping Liam's photo. Her hands shook slightly, tears streaking her cheeks, but she couldn't look away from him. You really remembered all that? She asked, voice trembling. All those nights? He nodded slowly, eyes soft but unwavering. I did. Every single one. I remember the smell of the food you brought. The way my little brother's face lit up when he finally got a full meal. I remember you never asking for anything in return. Never expecting anything. And I remember thinking, there are people in this world who are good, even when it doesn't seem like it. Maya's chest tightened. She had thought her actions were small, almost invisible, just survival for herself and her son. And yet, here he stood, proof that her kindness had been monumental. And tonight, he continued, voice low, deliberate. When I got the message that Liam was sick, I knew I had to act. Not because of obligation, not because of fame or power, but because of you. Because what you did for me taught me that helping someone in need, it's never a question of reward, it's a question of heart. Maya's breath caught. Her son, sick and fragile only hours ago, had been saved by the boy she fed years ago. The thought was almost too much to comprehend. But why? Why risk all this? She whispered, clutching the photo closer. Why the cars? The team? The midnight rush? He let out a small, almost self-deprecating laugh. Because some debts aren't measured in money. Some acts of kindness aren't measured in time. Some people, they just stay with you. And when the chance comes to repay them, you don't think twice. You just act. Maya's eyes filled completely now, tears spilling freely. I can't believe it. I thought I was just trying to survive, just trying to keep my son alive. I didn't know it would matter to anyone. He leaned forward slightly, voice softening, almost intimate. It mattered, more than you can imagine. You've shaped lives, mine, my brother's, and now your own son's. The ripples you started are still moving. A silence settled over them. The kind that carries weight without words. The kind that leaves space for awe, for reflection, for understanding. Then he said something that pierced the quiet. You think you didn't make a difference, but look around. Look at the life you saved tonight. Look at the lives you've touched without even knowing it. Maya swallowed hard, finally meeting his eyes. It's overwhelming, she whispered. He smiled faintly, almost gently. That's the point. Sometimes we don't see the magnitude of our own goodness until it comes back to us in ways we can't ignore. Her hands relaxed slightly, still holding the photo. For the first time that night, Maya felt a sense of peace, a sense of understanding. A sense that maybe, just maybe, the world could be kind, and she had a hand in it. The city lights twinkled outside, mirrored in their eyes, and in that moment, the past, present, and future converged into one fragile, beautiful truth. Some acts of love never fade, some people never forget, and some miracles are born from the simplest of kindnesses. The CEO took a slow step closer, his gaze never leaving Maya's. Tonight, he said, voice low and deliberate, I made sure your son would be safe. I brought the team, arranged the cars, coordinated with the hospital, everything you saw tonight. It wasn't random. It was planned. Maya's breath caught. I don't even know who you are anymore, she whispered. Why are you doing this? Why risk so much for us? He smiled faintly, a mix of pride and nostalgia in his eyes. You don't remember me, but I remember you. I remember every night you showed up with food, every meal you shared, every word of encouragement. You saved me and my brother when we were at our lowest. And tonight, when I found out about Liam, I realized it was my turn to save someone. You gave me the courage to do it. Maya blinked, trying to process the revelation. The boy she had once fed, hungry, scared, struggling, was now standing before her, the one orchestrating the rescue of her son. Her mind raced. Cars, hospital staff, coordination. It was all him. All because of something she had done years ago. You. You were the reason? She asked, voice trembling. Yes, he replied simply. You helped me survive back then. Tonight I helped your son survive. It's that simple. Tears streamed down Maya's face. I can't believe this. I never imagined. My small act was never small, he interrupted gently. It saved lives. Maya, mine, my brother's, and now Liam's. Sometimes we don't see the weight of our kindness until it comes back to us in ways we can't ignore. Maya's knees felt weak, but she stayed standing, holding Liam's photo close. I just can't thank you enough, she whispered. You don't have to, he said. Just know that kindness matters. Every little bit matters, and tonight it brought us here. For a moment, silence wrapped them like a soft blanket. The city hummed below, indifferent, yet somehow attentive to the quiet miracle that had unfolded. Then Maya asked the question she had been holding back, the one that had haunted her all night. Who are you, really? The CEO's lips curved into a faint, knowing smile. Do you really want to know? He asked, his tone teasing but serious. Yes, she breathed. I need to understand everything. He took a deep breath, the weight of the past in his chest. 2 years ago, I was just a kid, a struggling kid you helped. Now, I'm the CEO of this company, and tonight, I was able to repay the kindness you showed me back then. You didn't know it, but you taught me what it means to care, to act, and to fight for someone else's life. Maya's hands shook. This is unreal, she whispered. No, he said softly. This is real, and it's all because of you. She looked down at Liam's photo again, then back at the man who had once been a boy she barely knew. The weight of realization hit her like a tidal wave. Her actions, her simple, human acts of kindness, had created a ripple that saved her son tonight. And in that moment, every fear, every sleepless night, every doubt melted into a single truth. Some people never forget. Some acts of love echo through time, and some miracles are born from the smallest gestures. Maya's legs gave a small tremble, but she stayed rooted to the spot. All at once, the city lights, the cars, the hospital, and the CEO's words collided in her mind. You came back, she whispered, voice cracking. All this, for us? He nodded, gaze steady, calm. Yes, because the kindness you showed me years ago taught me to act when it mattered. Tonight, it mattered more than ever. Maya's tears fell freely now, and she let herself breathe, feel, and finally understand. I don't even know how to explain it, she said, clutching Liam's photo to her chest. You saved him, and I never even knew who you were. He smiled faintly, almost humbly. You did more than save me back then. You taught me, and tonight I only returned the favor. That's all. You gave hope when it mattered most. I just made sure it reached your son. For a long moment, they stood in silence. Two lives intertwined across years of struggle, kindness, and survival. The weight of past and present pressed gently against their hearts, but instead of breaking them, it strengthened them. Maya's voice trembled as she finally spoke. All this time, I thought my little acts didn't mean anything. I thought I was just surviving, and you remembered? I remembered, he said softly, and that memory gave me the courage to save your son tonight. Because kindness like yours doesn't fade, it grows. It comes back, sometimes in ways you can't predict, she nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. For the first time in hours, Maya felt the fear and helplessness melt away. All the nights she had worried, all the uncertainty, every sleepless moment. Tonight, it culminated in this one truth. Her love and courage, though quiet and unseen, had created a ripple that reached across time and transformed lives. The CEO glanced toward the window, city lights reflecting in his eyes. Some things in life are bigger than us. Some people remind us of that. You reminded me. And tonight, I hope I reminded you. Maya inhaled, tears still flowing, but a small, genuine smile breaking through. I think I understand now, she whispered. Yes, he said, nodding. And that understanding, that's what changes everything. Outside, the city hummed quietly. The storm had passed. Inside, a single mother, her son safe, and the man she once helped stood together, bound by an invisible thread of hope, courage, and the extraordinary power of a simple act of kindness. For Maya, the weight of fear and helplessness was gone. For the CEO, the memory of struggle was honored and paid forward. And for Liam, the world had just given him another chance, because of love that never faded, and because one person had chosen to care. Maya stepped through her front door, the soft click of the latch echoing in the quiet house. For the first time that night, the weight pressing on her chest felt lighter. Liam was asleep in his crib, breathing steady and calm, safe in the warmth of his little blanket. She walked over and stood quietly for a moment, just watching him. Her heart swelled with relief and gratitude all at once. Every frantic moment, every tear shed earlier, suddenly made sense. The fear, the panic, the sleepless night. It had all led to this. She pressed her palm against the crib rail, whispering softly, "You're safe now, baby. You're okay." Her voice was still shaky but steady, filled with the quiet triumph of surviving what had felt impossible. Sitting down in the rocking chair, she allowed herself to breathe, to finally feel the aftermath. Memories of the CEOs, words from earlier echoed in her mind. The boy she had helped years ago, the one she never expected to remember, her had come through for her son, her simple acts of kindness, small and unnoticed at the time, had come full circle. A single tear slipped down her cheek, but it wasn't just sorrow, it was relief, gratitude, wonder. She thought of all the nights she had worried about not being enough, about not being able to protect her son, and now she realized that courage wasn't about never being afraid. It was about acting, loving and surviving despite fear. Her phone buzzed softly on the counter, but she didn't reach for it yet. Instead, she let herself sink into the quiet, the stillness of a home that had survived the storm. Somehow the world felt bigger, kinder, and yet still full of mystery. And she knew deep in her heart that the ripples of her kindness, small acts of love she thought insignificant, had shaped lives in ways she could never fully measure. Finally, she leaned back, allowing herself a small, tired smile. Tonight had been terrifying, uncertain, and overwhelming. But she had made it through. And in the quiet glow of the night, Maya understood one thing clearly. Even in the hardest moments, love and courage always leave a mark. Sometimes on others, sometimes on yourself, sometimes in ways you'll only realize years later. Maya finally sat at the kitchen table, the dim glow of the lamp casting soft shadows across the room. She thought back to that small neighborhood years ago, the one she barely remembered now, filled with narrow streets, flickering porch lights, and quiet struggles hidden behind closed doors. She remembered the boy, the CEO now, leaning against a fence, cheeks hollow, eyes tired but bright with curiosity. She had barely known him, yet every night she carried food to his small apartment, placing it gently on the table. She remembered the way his little brother's face would light up at the simplest meals, the way their gratitude was so pure it left her breathless. At the time, it had felt like nothing more than survival, keeping them fed, keeping them alive, keeping hope alive, and yet, tonight she had seen the outcome of those quiet, unassuming acts. Her son's life had been saved, orchestrated by the boy she had helped without expecting anything in return. The realization pressed down on her chest like a warm, heavy weight. She closed her eyes and whispered almost to herself, "I never thought my small acts could reach this far." Every decision, every meal, every kind word had mattered. She felt gratitude swell in her heart, not just for the CEO, but for the universe that had allowed kindness to ripple in ways she could never have imagined. Her phone buzzed again. This time she answered. It was a message from the CEO. "He's safe. You did this. Thank you for being who you are." Maya stared at the words, tears slipping silently down her cheeks. The gratitude was overwhelming. Not just for him, but for the lesson he had given her. The proof that acts of love and courage always return, often in ways that surprise and overwhelm. She glanced toward Liam's crib, his small chest rising and falling in gentle rhythm. The quiet of the house, the soft hum of the city outside, and the warmth of knowing he was safe filled her with a peace she hadn't felt in years. She whispered softly, almost a prayer. "Thank you for reminding me that every little bit matters, that love always finds its way back." And in that moment, Maya understood something profound. Her life, her struggles, her fears, they hadn't been in vain. The small kindnesses she thought would disappear had shaped destinies. And now, her son's life had been touched by that same invisible thread of compassion, connecting past to present in ways she would never forget. The next morning, sunlight spilled gently through the curtains, painting the room in warm gold. Maya stood in the kitchen, making breakfast for Liam. Her movements calm but deliberate. The chaos of last night, the fear, the uncertainty, felt like a distant memory, softened by the glow of relief and hope. She watched Liam crawl toward her high chair, his tiny hands gripping the edge as he squealed with delight. Her heart swelled. He was safe, alive, smiling. And in that moment, nothing else mattered. As she served him breakfast, she thought of the CEO's words, the story he had shared, and the ripple of kindness that had saved both their lives. She realized that the courage she had summoned to survive, to act for her son, had carried far beyond her own struggles. Her acts of love, simple, quiet, and persistent, had created a chain of compassion that came back to protect the one she loved most. Sitting down beside him, she gently lifted him into her lap. "You're okay now, baby," she whispered, brushing a soft lock of hair from his forehead. "You're safe. Mommy's got you." He laughed, a bright, innocent sound that filled the room, echoing against the walls and into her heart. Maya smiled, feeling a peace she hadn't known she could feel after so many sleepless nights and moments of panic. She realized that survival wasn't just about getting through each day. It was about showing up, loving relentlessly, and creating safety and warmth wherever she could. Later, she stepped outside for a moment, letting the fresh morning air fill her lungs. The city was alive with noise and movement, but Maya felt grounded. She thought of the CEO, of the boy she had fed, now grown and powerful, yet humble and kind enough to repay a simple act of generosity. It struck her that the world, though unpredictable and sometimes cruel, could also reflect the love and courage she gave freely. Maya returned inside, ready to face the day with renewed strength. She dressed Liam, packed a small bag for the park, and smiled as she carried him out the door. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she could breathe, truly breathe, without fear. She whispered to herself softly as she walked. "We made it. We really made it." Her son's laughter echoed in her ears, mingling with the memory of last night's miracle, and she understood that life, with all its hardships, also held extraordinary moments of grace. In the quiet rhythm of breakfast, the laughter of her son and the thought of kindness returned. Maya knew this. She had survived, she had loved, and she had changed lives, including her own. The afternoon sun streamed through the window, casting long golden shadows across the living room. Maya sat on the couch, Liam playing quietly on the rug at her feet. For the first time in a long time, the house felt calm, safe, and full of warmth. She thought again of the CEO, the boy she had helped all those years ago, now the man who had saved her son. The memory of last night, the flashing cars, the hospital corridors, the unknown hands that had acted so quickly, still lingered, but the fear had faded, replaced by awe and gratitude. Maya realized something profound. Kindness never truly disappears. The smallest gestures, the meals she had delivered, the moments of care she had given without expectation, had created ripples that traveled farther than she could have imagined. Those ripples returned tonight, in the most miraculous way imaginable. She picked up Liam, holding him close as he rested his head on her shoulder. "You're safe now," she whispered again. Her voice carried strength, love, and a quiet understanding of the extraordinary journey they had both survived. Later, she stepped onto the balcony, looking out at the city skyline. The lights shimmered like stars fallen to earth, and she thought about how interconnected lives truly were. One act of compassion, one small choice to help someone in need could transform a life, and sometimes it came back to you in ways that surpassed imagination. Maya took a deep breath, letting the weight of the past, the fear of the present, and the hope for the future settle into a calm rhythm. She knew that whatever challenges awaited her and her son, they had the strength to face them together. The world had shown her that love and courage could ripple across time, connecting people in ways that were invisible yet undeniable. She smiled softly, a mixture of relief and wonder. "Thank you," she whispered to the universe, to the boy-turned-CEO, and to herself. "Thank you for letting us survive. Thank you for showing me that what we give comes back in ways we can't always predict." Liam laughed from the rug, tugging at her sleeve, reminding her that life moved forward, bright and full of possibility. Maya lifted him into her arms once more, her heart light, her soul full, and her spirit renewed. Some acts of love never fade, some kindnesses echo across years. And sometimes, the world surprises you with a miracle born from your own courage, compassion, and care. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the room, Maya held Liam close and whispered, "We made it, baby. We really made it." The screen of life faded to quiet, leaving only the lasting truth. Love, courage, and kindness create ripples that can change the world, one life at a time.